Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Megan and today I want to talk to you about triple PD and getting back into life despite having symptoms. So your first question is definitely going to be, how on earth do I do that? When I feel so dizzy, how can I live my life? And this was the exact same question I had for about 2 years, 2.5 years even. You know, I would see all of these people living their lives and going to work and doing things anyway, and I would just be like, how the hell are they doing that? I literally feel like I can barely brush my teeth. How are they just walking down the street? But there is a very simple explanation for this, and it is that they try. And that is it. I could probably just end the video there, but I'm gonna explain this in detail because I understand that you wanna know exactly what I mean. I know it's so difficult to try and do anything like that when you feel so awful, but you must try. That is literally the only way that this is gonna get better. It's so important to get back to doing normal life activities despite dizziness, because when we do that, we are teaching our brain that these symptoms are not scary anymore. We're not afraid and we're safe. If you still have a lot of symptoms and a lot of anxiety, I think your focus should be mainly on the anxiety for now. And there are many techniques for that, and I will probably make other videos on how to overcome anxiety specifically. But if you are in a position where your anxiety is kind of dropping, which is amazing, but the symptoms are still there, I think now is a really good time for you to try and just get outside of the house and participate in activities that might usually trigger you. Let me just start by saying that I totally understand how you feel, obviously. When I first started to venture out into the world a little bit more, I was terrified, and the symptoms would increase so much when I tried to do anything. Something as simple as just going to the grocery store became like this monumental task that was so horrible. So I totally understand you. And you're not doing anything wrong if the symptoms do increase in the moment. In fact, you're doing everything right. Now, I want to make this clear. It's really important that you get medical clearance before trying any new things. You know, I'm telling you this stuff based on the fact that you have medical clearance, MRI scans, blood tests, vestibular testing. You know that there's nothing seriously wrong with you and that there's nothing broken with your vestibular system. You know, even if there is, you can still recover. But for this is very much an emotional based condition. Triple PD is very much emotional based. So it's important that you know for sure that you don't have any underlying condition that's causing these symptoms. You also might find yourself having medical clearance, but also not trusting that. I was exactly the same way. Every time my symptoms would increase, I would instantly go to, okay, I have MS, I have a brain tumor, something is seriously wrong with my brain or my vestibular system. You know, I would just go off on the worst case scenario. But then a couple of days passed and the symptoms got more mild, and then my energy lifted and I was just feeling more hopeful again. So I want you to know that it's normal to doubt things sometimes. It's really normal to be scared that you have something serious going on. But I hope that every time you get scared about that, you realize that the symptoms actually do eventually decrease again, and it goes kind of back to a baseline. You know, you really need to remind yourself of those days, because sometimes when you're in the worst of it, you don't remember that it actually gets better. So definitely try to remind yourself of that fact, first of all. So what would I recommend to start doing if you are wanting to get back out into the world but are scared to because of the symptoms? Well, first of all, I would recommend to take a close friend or a family member with you on an activity that you're going to do that would normally trigger you. For example, the grocery store. I used to go there with my mum. She would drive and I would walk in with her for like 2 minutes and then go back out and sit in the car and wait for her. So you can totally do that. Start as small as you want. There's no rules for this at all. But it is really important that you start leaving your house and participating in life. The longer you avoid this kind of thing, the bigger it will get in your mind and the worse your symptoms will feel. First of all, because you're not really getting enough stimulation just being at home. And secondly, your brain is learning that outside equals bad. Outside is scary, and that's not the message we want to give to your brain. The message is outside is safe, and we're allowed to go out there and enjoy our lives, and we don't have to get dizzy. So yeah, take a family member or friend with you somewhere. That should hopefully make you feel a bit more safe that you are not alone, and if anything does happen, that you have someone with you. To progress this, I would obviously encourage you to try and do these things alone, but maybe you can start small. For example, going for a walk around your block, knowing that your house is just 5 minutes away. If you still feel absolutely terrified, then being alone obviously might not help you. So for now, stick with the family and friend thing. But I would definitely recommend you to try your best to leave the house on your own at least once a day. And it doesn't have to be for hours. You can literally just do a 5 or 10 minute walk around the block and go back home. But at least you are kind of gaining the confidence to be outside on your own for a amount of time. This is the kind of thing that I would do on my healing journey. So I would take my mum with me to the grocery store, for example, and then that afternoon I might go out for a 5 minute walk on my own. So I've already done the big challenge of the day, and then the smaller challenge on my own is the little walk. I would encourage you to try doing that, maybe a bigger challenge with someone else and then a smaller challenge on your own, because leaving the house once a day, it's great, but it's definitely not enough to really challenge your brain and allow it to adapt. It might be a good idea to kind of create a daily schedule or a routine, not so you can be completely perfect about it, but just so you can have some options of what you might like to do that day. Anything, make sure you have something that you actually truly enjoy on there that you can do from home. A hobby, for example, painting or playing the guitar, whatever. And then something you can do outside with someone else. So maybe either going for a walk with someone else or going to the grocery store, trying to go out for lunch, for example. And then something you can do on your own that's also outside. So either sitting outside, going for a short walk, whatever it may be. If you feel like you're at a more advanced level of your healing, then maybe you can even go to a shopping center by yourself, or out for lunch by yourself, or meet your friends for some tea or coffee or whatever. Obviously you know what kind of activities you feel comfortable doing, but it's really essential that you do these things at least once a day. I'm not saying to go out for drinks every day, but leave the house every day for sure, because I spent 2.5 years indoors and all it did was make the symptoms way worse when I went outside. Because my brain learned that outside is dangerous, outside is scary. My space at home is my safe space, and I never wanted to leave it. Remember that if your symptoms increase when you try and do normal life activities, that is normal and it's okay. It's just because your brain has learned that outside is dangerous. And it's because your brain has been deconditioned to these movements. So yes, the emotional side of things is important, but so is the physical side of things. There is an issue with how your brain is perceiving information. So you do need to retrain that. It's not just about feeling safe. That is like the biggest thing. I'd say it's 60% feeling safe and 40% adapting to your environment again. So both of them are important. You can't just tell yourself I'm safe and never leave the house, because your brain needs the stimulation in order to retrain. And it would be the exact same thing the other way around. You can't just go outside and push through the symptoms and force yourself to adapt, but still feel really panicky, because that's just gonna not work at all. You really need both of these elements in order to make a full recovery. I wanted to make this video just because it's really important for you to get out of the house and to resume normal life activity as much as possible. As much as your clever brain will allow you right now, that's what I want you to try and do. However hard it seems right now, based on all of your tests, that there is nothing physically wrong with you. So despite going out and having more symptoms, it's just the threat response in your brain kicking in to keep you safe. That's all it is, as well as the fact that your brain is super deconditioned to these movements. Think of going out and living your life as a form of vestibular rehabilitation, but it's really, really important to make sure that you feel safe while you do these things. And that's where, the parasympathetic breathing technique comes in, body scans, meditation, yoga even. Being somewhere with someone who you feel is actually safe will be a wonderful place to start. And it took me a long time to get back into normal life. So don't think that you have to do this all in 1 month. You're not going to be perfect at this right now. And it might feel really scary at first. Trust me, I know exactly how you feel. But if I can do it, you can do it. I promise you can do it. But you really have to try and push yourself, not to the point of a panic attack, but to the point of slight uncomfortableness, but reminding your brain that you're safe and that these symptoms, if they happen, you can handle them and that they'll go back down. I would often be scared that if I went outside and the symptoms increased, that I would be back to square one, that everything was ruined, that I would just mess up my recovery completely, but that never happened, never. And actually, as I continuously went out and lived my life more and more normally, the symptoms improved a lot. And that is like the main reason why my symptoms improved. But obviously, as I said, I did not just go outside, push through the symptoms, feeling horrific, panicking, crying, wanting to be home, just sitting there tense because all I'm thinking about is the symptoms. I did not do that. Well, sometimes I did that in the beginning. Obviously, at the very beginning, I was very scared. But as I continuously practiced, it got easier. And the symptoms were no longer this terrifying monster hanging on my shoulder. I was walking alongside the dizziness rather than being afraid of it. It was just something that was happening to me at that time. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I'll be fine. I'll just focus on what I'm doing. I'll enjoy the conversation I'm having. The symptoms are there, but I'm not going to give them any of my attention. You can feel them, but you don't have to analyze them. That's the difference. You don't have to focus on them intently. You can have a conversation with someone and laugh and feel joy even with dizziness. And I know it's hard, but it will get easier. It just will get easier. And I'm saying this to you from my personal experience that it does get easier. So if you have any questions or you need any more support, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can comment down below or you can email me. Everything is in the description below for you. I do have a couple of coaching sessions left at the end of this month, but tomorrow I am going to Spain. I'm leaving the country for the first time in 5 years. I'm so freaking excited. So I will be unavailable for this week, but starting the end of next week, I will be there for you fully. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. In a coaching session, we will come up with a proper guided plan for you to really get back into normal life without the fear. So if that's something that you would like, please get in touch and we'll talk about it. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching and I hope this was helpful. We'll talk soon. Bye.